The first hour of your day is not merely a block of time, it is a battlefield. Upon awakening, your mind stands as an open gate between the subconscious and the conscious, and in that critical moment, you hold either the sword or the chain. You will either command your mind with intent, or you will be swept by the noise and disorder of a world that doesn't know your purpose. Most men and women wake up and reach for distraction before discipline. They let the headlines, the buzzing phone, or the weight of yesterday's problems step into their mind before they do. And when you surrender your mind at dawn, you will chase it all day long. To level up your life, you must begin with dominion over your own mental territory from the second you open your eyes. The moment your consciousness returns in the morning, you must become the master. Before any external influence invades your awareness, you must implant the dominant thoughts that shape your actions, which in turn shape your results. The subconscious mind, when freshly awakened, is supple, responsive, and ready to be molded. If you allow negativity, anxiety, or the chaos of routine to occupy that sacred time, you're not just losing minutes, you're relinquishing your power for the entire day. The world is full of people who are led by events. Very few are led by intention. Those few command the heights of success because they begin each day by commanding their thoughts. A man who understands the power of his thoughts at the start of the day is a man who controls the trajectory of his destiny. Thoughts, when mixed with purpose, faith, and repetition, become reality. But thoughts do not arrive with purity by accident. They must be summoned, crafted, and repeated with clarity and emotion. This is why you must begin every morning in silence, before movement, before noise, before engagement with the outside world. In that sacred silence, you must install the thoughts that will serve your higher purpose, not merely your comfort or convenience. This means declaring your intention for the day, not in vague terms, but in exact and definite language. To command your mind is to program it deliberately, to choose the seed you will plant in the fertile soil of your subconscious. There is a reason why the greatest achievers in history have been men and women of deliberate morning rituals. They knew what modern science has confirmed, that the mind is highly impressionable in the first minutes after waking. Your brain moves from deep theta and delta waves into alpha and beta, and in that transition, your internal environment is uniquely receptive to suggestion. If you do not plant your own suggestion, you will live out someone else's. It might be the suggestion of the media, the market, or the memory of yesterday's defeat. And the mind that starts reactive is the mind that stays reactive. What does it mean to command your mind in practical terms? It begins with stillness, followed by clarity. Do not rush into your day. Sit upright, breathe deeply, and focus. Think on your purpose, speak it aloud, feel it with intensity. Repeat the affirmations that align with the identity you are constructing. Say what you intend to do, and say why it must be done. This is not idle routine. This is mental construction. You are laying the bricks of your reality. You are choosing the character you will wear. You are telling the universe and your own subconscious that you are not to be distracted, delayed, or defeated. You are choosing dominance over drift. Understand this, drift is the enemy. Drift is the habit of those who live by default, who move from day to day with no clear intent, and as such are carried by circumstance, not character. Drift begins in the morning. When you begin the day with no command, no vision, no psychological architecture, you become vulnerable to every distraction and every influence. A mind that has not been commanded will be commandeered. The notifications will claim it, the fears will claim it, the demands of others will pull it from its center. But when you claim your mind first, none of that can shake you, because you are rooted. The greatest battles are fought internally. Before you win a fortune, a promotion, or a following, you must win your own mental sovereignty. That begins the moment you awaken. If your first action is one of reaction, such as checking your phone, reading emails, or rushing to answer someone else's agenda, you have already lost the battle for that day. If your first thoughts are passive or pessimistic, you've polluted the very soil in which your actions are grown. But if your first thoughts are strong, clear, definite, and aligned with purpose, you have aligned your being for high achievement. Remember that repetition builds belief. If every morning you command your mind with empowering, purpose-filled, focused thoughts, you are engraving those ideas into the deepest levels of your being. Soon, your actions begin to reflect your thoughts without resistance. You will find yourself moving with ease in the direction of your goals because your mind has been trained to accept nothing else. It is no longer a struggle to do the hard things because you have made them part of your identity. But this requires discipline. You must guard your mornings like sacred ground. You must be unwilling to let noise in before your own voice has spoken. You must not let the outer world enter before your inner world is set. Most people think their phone is the tool of productivity. It is often the thief of intention. Before you touch it, you must touch your own mind. Place your attention where it matters, not where it vibrates or rings. Think of your mind as a compass. If you set it correctly in the morning, it will guide you through the storms and distractions of the day. But if it is not calibrated, if you leave it to chance or to external programming, it will mislead you. And that misdirection, even by a few degrees compounded over time, can lead you far from your desired destination. A life of greatness cannot be built on a foundation of mental chaos. It must be built on clarity, on focus, on deliberate thought, laid brick by brick in the early morning hours. To command your mind is to own your day. To own your day is to build your life. You must rise not just to wake up, but to take control. You are the architect, the builder, the master. No one else is coming. There is no power greater than a mind fused with purpose. A man who rises each morning and aligns himself with a definite aim is a man who walks through the day immune to distraction and unshaken by difficulty. Without a clearly defined purpose, your thoughts become scattered, your actions uncertain, and your energy diluted. But with purpose, definite, burning, non-negotiable purpose, your life becomes a straight line. Every morning, before you take your first steps into the world, you must bring that purpose into clear focus. You must remind yourself why you rise, what you are building, and who you are becoming. Purpose does not come from the world. It is built within you. It does not appear fully formed. It is summoned, shaped, and defined through deep thought and repetition. You must engage your mind daily in this act. A purpose not practiced will fade. A purpose not revisited will become vague. And a vague aim is powerless. The man with vague desires is a leaf in the wind, carried by mood, by the opinions of others, by the next shiny opportunity that crosses his path. But the man with definite purpose is like an arrow, straight, sharp, and certain. He may bend with the wind, but he does not break. This is why the morning matters. It is the hour of reinforcement. It is the hour to anchor your identity in your aim. You must not rely on chance to feel motivated or aligned. You must use the power of the morning to review, to restate, and to reconnect with your chief aim in life. You must know not only what you want, but why you want it, and that knowledge must live at the front of your mind. It must not be a passing idea. It must be the flame that lights your every thought, word, and action. Begin by stating your purpose aloud. Write it down, feel it emotionally, close your eyes and see it. Do not let it sit passively as words on a page. Breathe life into it. Let your purpose become so vivid, so emotionally charged, that it pulls you forward before the world can push you. A man with a purpose so intense he cannot ignore, it will never need to be pushed or reminded. The desire will move him, the goal will guide him, the vision will shape him. Definite purpose does not mean doing one thing for the rest of your life. It means doing one thing at a time with total clarity and commitment. Your chief aim may evolve, but it must never be absent. You must wake with a sense of direction. If your compass is not aligned, every step you take may be in the wrong direction. A purposeful morning leads to a meaningful day, and a string of meaningful days becomes a legacy. Every morning is an opportunity to check the alignment between your actions and your aim. Ask yourself, what am I building today? Who must I become to move closer to that vision? What must I eliminate that does not serve this goal? These questions are not philosophical. They are practical. They sharpen the mind and ignite the will. They force you to reject the trivial and embrace the essential. Too many people live their lives reacting to the urgencies of others. Their time is spent answering messages, attending to emergencies, fulfilling obligations that do not align with their deeper goals. Why? Because they have not defined or reinforced their purpose. When you are unclear about what matters, everything will seem important. But when you are definite, most things will be exposed as distractions. The power of purpose is that it gives you a filter. It teaches you what to say no to, and every morning you must recalibrate that filter. Imagine two builders. One has a blueprint, the other does not. One knows what the final structure will look like and chooses his materials with care, plans each day with focus, and works with steady hands. The other picks up random bricks and hammers aimlessly, hoping something useful takes shape. The first will build a fortress, the second will waste years in confusion. Purpose is your blueprint. Without it, your effort is scattered and your time is stolen by uncertainty. To practice definite purpose is to make every thought and action serve your central aim. It is to eliminate the unnecessary and pursue only what aligns with the vision. This practice must begin each morning. You cannot expect to hold your focus if you do not strengthen it daily. You cannot expect to rise to greatness if you do not remind yourself why greatness is worth pursuing. Desire fades when it is not fed. Purpose decays when it is not reinforced. This is not about hype. This is about direction. It is easy to feel busy and mistake it for progress. It is easy to fill a day with motion and have nothing to show for it. But a man with definite purpose is not fooled by movement. He asks, is this moving me toward my aim? If the answer is no, he discards it. He is not afraid to offend, to say no, to walk alone, because he walks with purpose. He does not need validation, he needs results, and the morning is his ritual of recommitment. You must also visualize the outcome you seek. See it not as fantasy, but as inevitability, if and only if you do your part. Purpose demands responsibility. You are not owed the result. You must become the person worthy of it. Every morning, remind yourself of this truth. You are either preparing or procrastinating. You are either aligning or avoiding. There is no middle ground. The practice of definite purpose in the morning rewires your nervous system for high achievement. You begin to associate waking up not with obligation, but with opportunity. You begin to crave the challenge because you know it builds the version of you capable of fulfilling the vision. This is how confidence is born, not from ego, but from clarity. You do not stumble through your day wondering what matters. You know, and that knowing makes you dangerous to mediocrity. You must be ruthless with your attention. Every minute you spend in confusion is a minute stolen from your dream. Every morning you neglect to reinforce your purpose is a day lived off course. The price is too high. You cannot afford drift. You must decide every single day who you are and what you are building, and you must do so before the world has a chance to tell you otherwise. A purpose practiced is a purpose preserved. It becomes part of your identity. It bleeds into your language, your posture, your habits. People begin to notice. Opportunities begin to align, and obstacles begin to fall away, not because they cease to exist, but because your purpose becomes greater than your fear. That is the reward of clarity. That is the gift of discipline. That is the result of practicing definite purpose every morning without exception. Discipline is the bridge between the life you desire and the life you live. It is the invisible force that transforms intention into action, dreams into goals, and goals into achievement. Every morning you are faced with a choice: to let the day happen to you or to take control of it through decisive, disciplined action. Discipline is not about punishment or restriction. It is about freedom. The freedom to move steadily toward your purpose without being controlled by impulses, emotions, or excuses. Momentum is not created by occasional bursts of motivation. It is built through consistent, disciplined choices, beginning with the first hour of your day. When you wake up, your body is still. Your will is untested. Your mind is free of resistance or readiness. It is in this moment, before anyone sees you, before you are needed, before the demands begin, that you define your character. The decision to move, to rise, to act, to follow through on what you promised yourself, is the foundation of momentum. That one small act of discipline sets the tone. The man who wins his morning wins his day, not because of the size of his actions, but because of the consistency of his standard. Discipline is a muscle. It strengthens through repetition, and the morning is your training ground. When you start the day with structure, when you choose the hard thing before comfort, when you prioritize what matters over what tempts, you condition your mind and body to serve your purpose. You build a pattern that echoes into every hour. The momentum generated from a disciplined morning doesn't stay confined to those early hours. It carries into your decisions, your energy, your performance. You begin to expect more from yourself, and in doing so, you raise your internal standard. Understand this: motion creates emotion. Most people wait to feel inspired before they move. That is the formula for stagnation. The truth is that movement comes first, discipline comes first, and the feelings follow. You will not always want to act. You will not always feel clarity, energy, or motivation. But the disciplined man does not wait for feelings. He moves anyway. And through that movement, the fire is reignited. Discipline breeds motivation, not the other way around. This is the secret that separates the successful from the stagnant. Momentum is powerful because it overrides hesitation. When you are in motion, decisions are easier. Doubt has less space to grow. A disciplined morning eliminates the pause that so often kills progress. You do not waste time debating whether to act. You already decided. You act because it is who you are. This is the deeper truth about discipline. It is identity. When you repeatedly take action aligned with your values, you begin to see yourself as the type of person who follows through. And once that identity is established, it becomes painful to act against it. Discipline becomes natural, not forced. But none of this happens by accident. Discipline must be chosen, practiced, and protected. It begins with clear, intentional actions. Wake up at the time you said you would. Move your body even when it resists. Practice your routines even when they feel dull. Review your goals even when they seem far. These are not random habits. They are the bricks in the foundation of a high-performance life. Every small act of discipline is a vote for the man you are becoming, and those votes compound into results. Many people underestimate the power of the morning because they overestimate the power of the evening. They think they will summon strength later in the day, after the chaos, after the fatigue, after the obligations. But the truth is, by then, your willpower is already drained. You are responding to the world, not creating it. The morning is when you are in control. Your environment is quiet, your mind is clean, your choices are fresh. If you do not establish momentum early, you will chase it all day. You must become non-negotiable about your morning disciplines. You must stop treating them as optional. Whether it's your workout, your planning, your journaling, your reading, these are not luxuries. They are necessities. They are the rituals that prepare you for battle. The world is not soft. It does not care about your excuses. It responds to results, and the only way to produce results consistently is to live with discipline, beginning with the first choices of the day. Discipline also builds self-respect. When you do what you say you'll do, even when it's uncomfortable, you start to trust yourself. That trust is rare in a world full of broken promises and delayed dreams. Most people are at war with their own word. They say they'll change and don't. They promise to begin and never do. But the disciplined man becomes rare. He stands out. He doesn't need to talk about what he's going to do. He's already doing it. His actions speak. His results multiply. And it all started with a morning decision to act, to move, to build momentum. There will be days you don't feel like it. Days when the bed is warm, the goal feels far, the mind is foggy. This is where greatness is forged, not in the easy days, but in the ones where you move anyway. Every time you push through resistance, you grow. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, you reinforce your identity. The mind records every win, and soon what once felt difficult becomes your new normal. You no longer struggle to start, you struggle not to. Discipline is not about being perfect. It is about being consistent. You will miss, you will slip, but the disciplined man returns faster. He doesn't spiral. He doesn't indulge the setback. He remembers who he is, and he gets back to work. This resilience is what separates the strong from the average. Not immunity to failure, but speed of recovery, and that speed is trained every morning through action. You must also protect your discipline from distractions. Do not begin your day with the noise of the world. Emails, social media, notifications, these are designed to pull you into reaction. Momentum dies in the face of fragmentation. If you give your attention away before you give it to your priorities, you dilute your power. Your discipline must be guarded. That means creating a morning space that supports your habits, silence, structure, no negotiation. Let this truth settle deep. If you can win your morning, you can win your life. Discipline is the gatekeeper of potential. It does not scream, it does not beg, it waits. And when you rise to meet it, when you choose it over and over again, it rewards you with confidence, results, and power. This is the life you were made for, not the easy one, the disciplined one, the one that builds momentum every single day. Your mind is a fertile field, and every thought you plant within it begins to grow, whether you intend it to or not. In the early morning, before the day's noise creeps in, your subconscious stands open and receptive, like soft soil waiting for seed. If you are wise, You will use this sacred time to program your mind through the deliberate and powerful practice of autosuggestion. This is not wishful thinking. It is not daydreaming. It is mental conditioning, an act of conscious repetition, emotional intensity, and focused belief. It is how you take hold of your desires and implant them into your very identity. The average man begins his day in reaction. He thinks thoughts that are random, negative, or inherited from yesterday's worries. He gives no direction to his mind, and so his thoughts drift according to his mood, his circumstances, or his environment. And because the mind always obeys its dominant thoughts, that man lives a life ruled by external conditions. But the man who practices autosuggestion with intent uses the power of repetition to override doubt, to replace fear, and to install the thoughts that serve his mission. He becomes the master of his inner world, and in doing so, he takes control of his results in the outer one. Autosuggestion is the act of feeding the subconscious mind specific, emotionally charged statements that align with your deepest goals. These statements, when repeated with belief and consistency, become instructions that the subconscious accepts as truth. And once the subconscious accepts an idea, it works tirelessly to bring it into form. This is not mystical, it is psychological law. The subconscious cannot distinguish between fact and fiction, only between repetition and neglect. What you tell it often, with emotion, it begins to believe. And what it believes, it begins to manifest through your decisions, behaviors, and even your perceptions. This is why the morning is your most powerful opportunity to use autosuggestion. Upon waking, the conscious mind is still quiet. The veil between conscious and subconscious is thin. Your brain is operating in slower frequencies, which means your mind is highly impressionable. In this window, you are either programming yourself for purpose or being programmed by accident. Most people do not realize how easily they are conditioned, by a headline, by a comment, by an unresolved fear. But when you take charge of this time and deliberately speak life into your goals, your identity, and your direction, you begin the day from a place of power. You must not approach this practice lightly. The statements you feed your mind must be specific, emotionally charged, and repeated with conviction. Saying, "I want to be successful," is vague. The mind does not respond to generalities. You must be precise. I am becoming a disciplined, focused, and powerful entrepreneur who earns $100,000 per month by delivering massive value to others, is specific. It gives the mind something to grasp. When you repeat this statement with emotion, when you see it, feel it, believe it, you begin to program the belief system that supports that outcome. It is not enough to repeat the words mindlessly. Autosuggestion is not a chant. It is a focused, emotional affirmation of your identity and goal. The emotion is the key. The subconscious responds not just to language, but to feeling. You must infuse your words with certainty. You must believe them, even if only slightly at first. Repetition builds belief. Every morning, as you repeat your affirmations with intensity, that belief grows. And as belief grows, your behavior begins to shift. You no longer act as someone hoping to change. You act as someone who has already changed. Let this be understood. Your life will never rise above the dominant thoughts you hold about yourself. If you think like a failure, you will act like one. If you see yourself as weak, you will behave in ways that reinforce that image. But if you use autosuggestion to rewrite your self-image, to install thoughts of strength, capability, power, and purpose, then your actions will rise to match. The The thoughts you hold most frequently and emotionally become your internal standard. And your standard determines your results. This practice requires discipline. It is not something you do when you feel like it. You must make auto-suggestion a non-negotiable part of your morning routine. Find a quiet space, stand tall, breathe deep, speak your affirmations aloud, say them as if they are already true, visualize the outcome. See yourself already living the life you desire. Feel the pride, the confidence, the certainty. Do this daily, do not waver. Over time, the mind begins to shift. Doubt loses its grip. Faith takes root. You begin to think, speak, and act in alignment with the person you have declared yourself to be. Auto-suggestion is also your defense against fear and negativity. The world is full of voices telling you what you cannot do, who you are not, why your goals are too big. If you do not counter these messages with your own, they will take hold. Every morning, your affirmations are your shield. They protect your mind from outside programming. They remind you of your vision. They reinforce your truth. And they keep you centered when chaos tries to pull you off course. You can write your affirmations on paper. You can speak them into a mirror. You can record them and listen while walking or training. The method is not as important as the consistency and emotional involvement. The more senses you involve seeing, speaking, hearing, feeling, the deeper the impression. The deeper the impression, the stronger the belief. And belief is what activates action without hesitation. Some will mock this practice. They will say it is silly, unnecessary, or delusional. Let them. Most people live lives dictated by fear, doubt, and inherited limitation. They are trapped not by lack of opportunity, but by lack of belief. If repeating truth to yourself each morning frees you from that prison, then let them laugh. You will be too busy rising. Let your morning be a ceremony of mental construction. Let your affirmations be the bricks, and your belief the mortar. Build the image of the person you are becoming, word by word, day by day. No one else will do it for you. No one else can. This is your responsibility. This is your power. Auto-suggestion is not magic. It is a tool. But when used with discipline, precision, and emotion, it becomes one of the most powerful tools you will ever possess. Each morning, before you step into the world of deadlines, distractions, and duties, there is a moment, a quiet, potent moment, when you can tune yourself to something greater than logic, greater than fear, greater than the limitations you've accepted. In this moment, you have the opportunity to align with the infinite intelligence that flows through all things. This is not mysticism. It is not superstition. It is the acknowledgement of a universal force that responds to your thoughts, your beliefs, and the vibration of your inner world. The men who have built legacies, fortunes, and movements have all understood, whether consciously or intuitively, that they were not operating alone. They had tapped into a higher source of guidance, clarity, and power. You have access to that same source if you make time to align with it. Infinite intelligence is not found in chaos. It is not accessible through noise, rush, or resistance. It is revealed in stillness. That is why the morning is sacred. When the body is rested, the mind unburdened by the debris of the day, and the outside world has yet to make its demands, you can enter a state where higher insight becomes possible. You may call it source, spirit, God, higher self, or universal mind. The name is irrelevant. What matters is the connection, and connection requires intention. It requires making space. This alignment is not about asking for miracles. It is about positioning your thoughts in harmony with truth, creativity, and vision. Infinite intelligence does not respond to confusion. It responds to clarity. It does not respond to desperation. It responds to calm confidence. And so, the first step is to quiet the mind, to remove the static, to step out of the frantic rhythm of survival and step into a state of receptivity. Through breath, through silence, through focused thought, you create a channel. You tune your internal frequency to something beyond the physical. You become available. Most people rush into their day head first, guided only by willpower, habit, or fear. They push, grind, and force their way through circumstances, never realizing that there is a higher form of movement, one that flows. When you align with infinite intelligence, ideas come to you, direction becomes clear, solutions reveal themselves. You begin to act not just from effort, but from inspired effort. There is a difference. Effort alone is survival. Inspired effort is purpose in motion, and inspiration is a result of alignment. To align is to surrender, not in weakness, but in wisdom. It is to release the belief that you must control every detail, force every outcome, or solve every problem through strain. You acknowledge that there are forces beyond your understanding that work in your favor when you hold the right thoughts, the right energy, the right faith. This does not replace action, it empowers it. Alignment is not passive, it is preparation for powerful movement. It is the clearing of internal resistance so that when you act, your steps are sure, your decisions precise, and your confidence unshakable. Each morning, take time to commune with this higher intelligence. You can do this through quiet reflection, meditation, prayer, visualization. Whatever method brings you into stillness and alignment. Focus not on what you lack, but on what you seek to embody. Instead of asking what you need, declare who you are becoming. Speak to this intelligence as if it were listening, because it is. Ask not only for results, but for wisdom. Ask not just for outcomes, but for alignment with the highest version of yourself. The one who already possesses what you desire, the one who already walks in clarity, power, and purpose. This practice is not about escaping reality. It is about engaging with reality at a deeper level. Infinite intelligence is not separate from your business, your body, your relationships, or your goals. It is the source of insight that guides your strategy. It is the whisper that tells you when to move and when to wait. It is the inner nudge that says, "This is the way," even when logic says otherwise. But it only speaks when you are quiet enough to hear, and most are never quiet. Let this morning alignment be your advantage. While others begin their day in reaction, you begin in connection. While others chase, you attract. While others scramble, you listen, you align, and then you move with precision. Infinite intelligence will not do your work for you, but it will guide you toward the most effective work. It will reveal the path of least resistance. It will inspire the creative idea that solves the problem, the message that moves the people, the shift in perspective that opens the locked door. There is a reason the greatest minds of history, from scientists to artists to leaders, have spoken of sudden flashes of insight, ideas that came from nowhere, or moments of inexplicable clarity. These are not accidents. They are the fruit of alignment. When the mind is tuned correctly, it becomes a receiver. It picks up on signals that are always there but usually drowned out by doubt, fear, and noise. The more you practice alignment each morning, the more open your channel becomes. You begin to operate not just with intellect, but with intuitive power. You must trust this connection, even when results are not immediate, even when the path seems unclear. Infinite intelligence does not operate on your schedule. It responds to your frequency. If you meet each morning with expectancy, with gratitude, and with belief, you will begin to notice subtle shifts. Your mind will become sharper. Your actions will become more aligned. Your faith will deepen. This is not fantasy. It is the natural result of living in alignment with something greater than ego, fear, or limitation. Make no mistake, this is not just a spiritual practice. It is a performance tool. Entrepreneurs, athletes, creators, leaders all elevate their performance when aligned. Their decisions are cleaner, their energy is more grounded, their sense of direction becomes magnetic. They seem to be in the right place at the right time. Others call it luck, but luck, more often than not, is alignment multiplied by action. You cannot fake this. It must be cultivated. Each morning, before you touch your phone, before you respond to others, before the world has a chance to tell you who you are, tell yourself. Speak into your own mind the truth of your connection to infinite intelligence. Say, I am guided, I am connected, I am clear, I am in harmony with the source of all strength, wisdom, and success. Let this be your first input. Let this be the anchor that grounds you in faith, not fear. The alignment you create in the morning becomes the foundation for everything else. You will still face challenges, but you will not face them alone. You will still take action, but your action will be backed by insight. You will still work hard, but your work will have direction. This is the power of aligning with infinite intelligence daily. It is the quiet edge, the unseen advantage, the inner certainty that moves mountains before your hands ever touch them.